What up, Dokkanners? If you guys saw my other video discussing when part 2 is going to be starting, since it's going to likely be starting September 9th at 11 p.m., that means that if we reverse engineer and count backwards, we would need about 2 days to start covering news and then handle the data download. So today is the 7th of September, which means coming up tonight, we could be getting the the news for the upcoming content. Now, in regards to the content, it is likely not going to be anything regarding the summons themselves, but the actual events and stuff that we're going to be getting for the first half of part 2. So today's video is just going to be going over some guesses, some speculation. That's about it, because that's really all that it's come to. I know a lot of people feel like this celebration has been a bit of a letdown. It has very much been a lot slower and a lot more anticlimactic because of certain situations, which I've already touched upon, but we're not going to dive into that again today. Rick posted this earlier today, which is basically what I've been thinking. EZA support campaign image is also scheduled to end on September 10th, along with other images mentioned by Proton, so I do expect an EZA to be shown with tonight's announcements. That is very possible. It is also possible that they don't, because we just assumed, so they've activated their trap card. Who knows? But regardless, let's just go over some ideas, some speculations, some wishes, some educated wishes, whatever you want. We're going to be discussing all of that right now. Now, number one thing, this is massive copium right here, okay? I am totally assuming the best, so none of this may happen. So if you don't even want to have your hopes set up, then maybe don't watch this or mute it. I would appreciate it if you still watched it but had it mute. And yeah, just keep that in mind. None of this is confirmed. This is all just speculation. Now, the number one thing I'm sure some people might be curious about, Toon, do you think that the LR full power Frieza and the LR AG or Int Super Saiyan Goku are going to EZA? I think they are not going to. I think that at any point for any celebration, those two units can EZA. I don't think that they necessarily have to fit the mold of, oh, they're a worldwide unit, therefore they have to EZA during a worldwide celebration. We kind of already shattered that expectation with other characters from these marquee celebrations getting their EZAs from other celebrations. Case in point, Cell and Gohan received their EZAs during the New Year's Gohan and Piccolo Dual Dokkan Festival, right? So that was a Dual Dokkan Festival. I guess if anything, maybe during a Dual Dokkan Festival, these sorts of units will receive their EZAs. I feel like that may be more of a safer bet than banking on it happening during this celebration. I also want to point out one thing. This is something that I'm going to continue to speculate and hope for until it doesn't happen, and that is Bio Broly. This is not guessing on what the part 2 units are going to be, but a lot of you should know at this point, I am rooting for a Bio Broly to be one of the new LRs, and if the Bio Broly is to be a new LR, I would imagine that the EZAs would have to conform to his leader skill. Either they give a new leader skill, which I doubt they will, since they already gave one. Whatever the case may be, whatever the units are that are going to be receiving EZAs in part 2, they have to at least conform to this unit's categories. So if it's uncontrollable power, artificial life forms, uncontrollable power by itself, resurrected warriors, whatever, it has to conform to that. So I'm also going to be operating under that assumption. Again, this is my speculation. If you disagree, that's totally fine. I know a lot of you guys hate Bio Broly, which I totally get. Bio Broly was a weak villain in a weak movie. I totally get all that. But you know where I come from. When I talk about units that I want Dokkan Fest, they have to be characters that are underrepresented. Bio Broly is underrepresented. The only character that exists is this guy, and he's trash. He's literally trash. Like, he's like Garbodor, but in Dragon Ball form. Okay, so let's go through my list here. Starting with, oh, and I also want to point out, since we got only one EZA this year, but last year, by the time part 2 started, there were 6 EZAs. I am going to be balancing the scales a little bit and trying to bring balance back into this celebration. So because we only had one, I'm anticipating 5. Call it copium, whatever. I wrote 6. Okay, 6 EZAs. And 1 super EZA. This is not going to happen. It's not. But you know what? If I list a bunch of units, maybe one of them gets an EZA. I think we can all agree most people are hoping and expecting for an LR Tech Super Saiyan Broly EZA. I would hope that we don't get a summonable character that is also a Tech LR Super Saiyan Broly. I want there to be an ample amount of differently named Brolys so that we could eventually have a full team of Broly. That's ultimately my goal with this. We have a base Broly. We have a legendary Super Saiyan Broly Int. We have the Super Saiyan Broly from Dragon Ball Super. And then we would have this Tech Super Saiyan Broly. Assuming the AGL1 transforms into full power, Tech Super Saiyan Broly takes care of that one. So that's what, 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then Bio Broly. That pretty much covers your Broly team. That's another reason why I want Bio Broly to be good. But these are the units that I'm expecting. I don't think that the Goku and the Frieza could fit in here. The reason why I've got a couple good guys is because kind of paying off what they, you know, what we set up in part 1. With the Saiyan Broly getting an EZA, this is the banner unit. It would make sense for him to receive an EZA. Also, this would be further enhanced, and this would increase the value of the LR Go-Go Trunks in part 1. Because if you have a Gohan Youth attacking in the same turn, you can use this guy's Link super attack. So I feel like this was a misstep to not give in part 1, but hey, Dokkan does stupid things, so let's continue the stupid by making this guy an EZA in part 2, giving players an incentive to go back to summon in part 1, even though there are no discounts anymore. By the time we jump into part 2, when the banners release, there will be no discounts in part 1. So if this were to drop before the part 2 banners, then maybe you have a chance to still EZA or summon and pull those guys before the discounts go away. Now, I am throwing in Janemba and Pikkon. The reason why I'm doing this is because the Janemba fits Movie Boss and Uncontrollable Power, 2 categories that the Bio Broly conforms to. Right here, Movie Boss, Uncontrollable Power. Now, I don't know what this unit's category leader skill is going to be. This is, again, all under the assumption that it's even going to exist. But, you know, if my wish were to come true and he does lead Uncontrollable Power, you know, 170, 200%, whatever, this combination of leader skills would fit perfectly for Janemba. And as a result, since Janemba is Dokkan Festival 1, Dokkan Festival 2 would have to follow, which is Pikkon. I don't think they're going to split up the set. That would be nonsense. Plus, he is a super class unit. He is a movie heroes. He is a support. And with this new support meta that we've got going on with the good guys during the celebration, this guy would be perfect for that. What if they were to do something where they gave this guy 2-turn support with 3 or more key spheres obtained? Key +2 attack and defense +30% for 1 turn is what you're getting with this. What if they made that 2 turns? I think that would be awesome. Because if you guys have seen my videos in regards to the Go-Go Trunks, if I'm just constantly feeding the team with 2-turn supports, it's just padding and padding and padding and padding. And so if this guy can contribute to that even more, that's just going to make part 1 even better. So I think that Pikkon and Janemba make a whole lot of sense for this celebration. Also, it gives us more movie boss diversity. We already got Turles. Let's get another one in here. It doesn't have to be all side characters. It doesn't have to be all extra movie bosses from different movies, but throwing a couple in here would be good because not everybody is going to have all of the Brolys. Inevitably, people are going to miss some of these summons, get shafted on some of these summons. So if they have some of the older ones, that would be good. Also, we need this. We need this sheer volume of EZAs because part 1, whether or not you summoned, a lot of people coming into the celebration were burning their stones left and right. So without much of an opportunity to maybe pull the newer characters, it's these EZAs that are going to act as a substitute, as sort of a replacement or a proxy to the new experience. So I think it's important that they give us more EZAs and good ones too. So I want all of these. We could throw on Bio Broly. I was kind of thinking maybe saving this for part 3 because typically part 3 is where all of the free-to-plays get their EZAs. Like going back to last year, it was the Trunks and the both Trunkses that received their EZAs in part 3. So it kind of makes more sense for the EZAs to happen in part 3. This year though, Paragus is not going to be receiving an EZA. So if we were to move this guy into part 3, maybe along with like Super Saiyan 3 Broly or something like that, that'd be kind of cool. But I don't know, I just threw him in here. Nobody would really care if he EZA'd here or not. Super EZA, this makes the most sense. Will it happen? I don't know. We just assumed it makes the most sense. So maybe it's not going to happen, but hey, it's my wish list. And that pretty much wraps up the EZAs. So 7 EZAs in part 2, very doubtful. But I think at least a fraction of this will definitely happen. It's just a matter of who. I hope, if I were to dwindle this down, I would even say no to the Super EZA. If I could get Tech Broly, Pikkon, and Janemba, I think that would be good. Pikkon and Janemba are fantastic leads and supports to Extreme Class, and that's important. So if we got these 3, I would be totally fine with it. Even if it didn't make sense to hold these guys out for even longer, whatever. If I got these 3, I'd be happy. For part 2, everything before the banners, we would get a new stage for this, probably for the second coming of Broly, or maybe they even throw in the third movie, Bio Broly. New stages for the story event, even though we're not going to be getting an EZA. for the Paragus, we probably still have to have a few more stages because it's only been, what, 3 stages? It seems kind of short for a brand new story event. And obviously new stages for the Supreme Magnificent Battle, the Blue Zone. We got a Kid Goku for the first stage. We got Dead Zone for part 2, and we got for stage 2, sorry, and then we got Android 13 for stage 3. So they are willing to go there. They are going through the different movies. They're giving us the heroes of them. So the next one would probably be, I don't know, BoJack, and then maybe Z Broly, and then maybe Second Coming of Broly. That would be the next 3, giving us 6 total stages, saving the 7th and final stage for part 3, where we also get a new support memory. So that's where I see all of this playing out. And then for part 2, once the banners drop, that would bring with it different events like memorable battles. Memorable battles would also be in there. Maybe they spread some of the EZAs out to where some of them also drop after the units release, which would also be fine. I don't know what other random challenge events they could also give. Maybe they continue to build upon this one, which would just be like a very mild-mannered training exercise. I don't know if they decide to do that, but that really is about it. It's really going to be hinged upon the EZAs. The EZAs, I mean, some people may not be okay with this, but I feel like EZAs dictate celebrations. Is that an appropriate generalization? Regardless of the banners, if you still get a decent substitute in an EZA, it makes a celebration bearable to some people. So I feel like an oversimplification would be that EZAs dictate celebrations. So if they deliver on this, I don't think the rest will matter as much. Even though all of these are no-brainers, I think this is really going to be where the celebration rides or dies. So let's find out. It could be as early as tonight. It could be tomorrow. I will be around. Hopefully we will get some news, and when we do, it'll be good news. Let's see. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like down below. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on what is coming up for part 2. I am convinced Bio Broly will get some sort of a summonable character. Do you agree or disagree? What's some of the EZAs that you would like to see? Do you think that the Goku and the Frieza could conceivably fit during the celebration? Perhaps during part 3, they drop in and get an EZA. Let me know your thoughts overall. Anything that I missed, anything that you would want in the comments down below. Also, be sure to subscribe for more Dokkan content in the future and click the notification bell so that you'll be going to see more of my stuff. Do it. Thanks again. Stay tuned, and I remember to Dokkan responsibly.